For your guys' reference.
All righty, good Wednesday morning, I should say. I got to get used to the new time. Good Wednesday morning to you, and welcome into the Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Sports Network with you 11 until 1. We do it Monday through Friday. We stream it live on Twitter at Chico Show CLE, and also you can go over to YouTube and type in the Chico Bormann Show. Hit subscribe, and you will be all set to go. Coming up at noon today, we will hook up with Brett Boone. It's Wednesday, so it's Wednesdays with Booney. Talk a little baseball, going around Major League Baseball. Certainly talking some Guardians as well, and other big. Shohei Ohtani last night. I mean, I feel like we're getting, like we're kind of just becoming immune to what he's doing. The guy hit 2 home runs and struck out 10 batters. Not in a Little League game, in a Major League Baseball game. And it's amazing. So we'll talk to Booney about that. His brother, Uncle Arnie's Yanks struggling at the plate. Granted, they don't have Aaron Judge. Should that affect everybody else in the lineup? So we've got plenty to talk to Booney about, and we'll do that coming up at noon. If you want to chime in, 216-626-7901. Again, 216-626-7901. You can also tweet at me at Big Play Chico. First of all, let me just say this. This is the first day that I walked outside. I've heard, the stories, right? And I'm not going to say like, wow, certain days weren't hazy and maybe I just didn't notice it as much. But this is the first day that I've walked outside and like, visibly, you can see it. Smell-wise, you can see it just smells like one big bonfire going on outside. And I live in Cleveland Heights. I smelled it there. I come to the airport where our studios are at Burke Lakefront Airport, and you can certainly smell it here. It's just weird. Like, and I thought Nick Padone is producing today. Bohm again, rocking and rolling in Long Island, New York. But Nick, I thought that like this was, I don't want to say over. Is that the right word? Like, I didn't know we were still experiencing this stuff.
Dude, I didn't either. And I guess it makes sense if you think about it. Like, it took some time to blow from New York because that's really where this started. You saw the videos where people couldn't even see like across their apartment, to the next building over in New York City. I guess it took time to blow over here, but man, it's like you could barely see outside in some spots down here. It is absolutely crazy. I'm with you. I thought we were over this.
What's funny is I immediately thought of Bohm because when we had when that was going on, when it was at its height, it wasn't just New York. Eric Casillas lives in Connecticut, and he had a picture.
Yeah, that's right. It was like all East Coast. Yeah, the East Coast was just a mess. Yeah.
It was like orange, and I mean, it was just like the apocalypse or something. And so Bohm asked the question. At the time, I kind of laughed at him, but now I'm starting to worry. He goes, do we know if these fires in Canada are actually, controlled? Like, are they out or are they still, like, burning? And I don't know what the answer to that question is because, I mean, I realize that you're going to experience this stuff, days later. It feels like this is like a month.
No, you're not making that up. I mean, this has been going on for a minute, and like, so if you check your phone, it says like the quality outside or whatever, and it says that it's dangerous. But does that mean like we shouldn't be outside? Like, does that mean like little Bo, my 12-pound dog, is gonna have some breathing problems if I keep him out on his walk too long tonight? Like,
yeah, that's
I don't know. I feel like we haven't heard anything about this either from any of the experts out there.
So air quality. I mentioned to you that when I woke up this morning bright and early, it was 1040 or 241 was the air quality. And that said, unhealthy. Now we're up to 275.
Going the wrong direction.
Yeah, and as it gets higher, folks, it gets worse, as many of you probably know. So it's very unhealthy is what it says. Air quality index 275, which is worse than yesterday at about this time. And, yeah, like our entire Northeast Ohio is entirely in purple on this map.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good
or
bad.
Be.
I don't know.
It can't be.
Yeah, so just... be careful out there. I don't know what to tell. What do you tell people?
All those people that I made fun of, like now that the pandemic is over and people you still see outside wearing their masks, people could do whatever they want, but I also have the right to make fun of whoever I want. So I'm not judging those people anymore. You look smart if you're out there wearing your mask. I thought about tossing mine back on. I don't know what they're burning up there in Canada.
I'm always interested in, because like if people want to wear masks, that's fine. I'm always very curious, and I find it funny though when I'm driving and someone's driving alone in their car with their mask on. Like, what? Are you picking it up from the steering wheel? Like, what? I don't know.
It's coming through the vents, Chico.
Yeah, it's crazy, but on a day like this might be one of those that you that you want to be careful, maybe throwing a mask. I don't know.
Yeah, we gotta get a environmentalist on the show next, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't see this coming. There wasn't a warning yesterday, so just be careful out there. I think, like I said, I don't know what rainstorm. You're like, well, keep an eye to the sky. We're here to prepare. You're not scary. Turn around, don't drown. Got all those like little catchphrases for this. I don't even know.
Like lightning. Be prepared to go in your basement. If big winds are whipping through.
Walk outside and hold your breath. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
Plug your nose when you're out there.
Run for your life, but don't breathe. All right, 216-626-7901. Lot to get to. When we got off the air yesterday, Padone was here in studio. Jack, Ryan, were you? Yeah, Ryan, you were here too. And Padone was, he was downright giddy. And I've gotten to know Padone. I've gotten to know you. I was talking like you weren't in the room there for a second. I've gotten to know Padone fairly well, where I know where he's kind of, when he's got that little gleam in his eye, the little twinkle in his eye, you can tell that there's something possibly, doesn't mean there's something brewing, but there's something maybe brewing out there as far as rumors, as far as, so come to find out, Brian Windhorst, the great Windy, and we respect the hell out of Windy, said that he's hearing a lot of stuff. A lot of crazy speculation. Which,
outlandish.
Outlandish was the word. Which, imagine that. It's the off season. We've got, free agency coming. Is it Friday that it officially starts? When guys can start, you can start negotiating.
That's when the Woj bombs are going to be coming out. It's Friday afternoon into Friday evening.
So to me, it would make sense that, yes, Brian Windhorst is hearing a lot of crazy things. Some of which he teased us as it's easy to do here in Cleveland. I would imagine that, certain names, certain places, there's a lot of stuff being bandied about. But next thing I know, I get home and I'm checking my phone, I'm checking Twitter, and I see Padone is quoting Amanda Casey, who I like Amanda. I worked with Amanda years ago in a galaxy far, far away. Very talented, very nice young lady. And it's Padone basically saying that Amanda Casey is reporting on an Akron station that LeBron is getting renovations to his house and that there are large dumpsters out and vehicles out. And I'm like, put the what dots were you connecting?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't want to say that I'm connecting any dots. It was actually something that I had heard in the yesterday morning. So someone that's very connected in the inner police world of Summit County reached out that I know and said, hey, there's like a lot of security. I didn't hear anything about the renovation trucks, anything of that nature. It was just that there's a ton of security outside of LeBron's house, and there's usually never any security there. Obviously, like when he left, when he came back, but usually it's very minimal security. It's gated. But now there's like security vehicles out there. And then, so I put that out there by itself. And then my mom called me and I'm like, what? And she's like, I read your tweet that there's security, and I told her where I got it from because she also knows this person.
She also wants your source. She knows you.
She
knows you. Who's your source?
Exactly. She's like, well, like who told you this? Like, and she kind of understands this world too. My mom does. So she wanted to make sure that I wasn't putting out bad information. So I told her who told me, and she's like, this is actually crazy. She said somebody that I listened to on the radio was actually talking about that today, and I'm like, no shot. Like, maybe you would have heard it wrong. I'm like, could you find the clip and send me it? And I knew that was a big ask because my mom isn't the most technologically savvy person in the world. But
I can relate, Mrs. Padone.
Lo and behold, Chico, she found it and she sent it to me, and I listened to it and I'm like, oh my goodness, like this actually takes what I was hearing about just the security kind of the next level that he's repairing. Doing repairs and stuff. So I just put it out there. Not trying to connect any dots or anything, but I found the timing to be quite convenient.
Well, okay. You weren't trying to connect any dots. Now let's go there. No, but I saw the selfie video.
Which did numbers, by the way, on TikTok right now. Shameless plug at Nick Padone 12. I'm crushing it. That video, Chico, got I think 120,000 views on my TikTok, which is insane for me. Like,
well, congratulations
for somebody like Sir Yacht that just takes the mound and falls over. Like that's common for him. That's his thing. But for a little guy like me to get 120,000 views on TikTok, that's number.
Well, someday you too can be Sir Yacht. Sure. we all strive to be Sir Yacht.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep shooting high. It's
on my goal list as well. So was it Donovan Mitchell related? Was it like I'm trying to figure out why everybody was in it. Like the Donovan Mitchell stuff, look, we've been through this once before, okay? And by now everybody knows, yes, he has an affinity for New York, okay? He's from there. His dad works for the Mets. He knows a lot of guys. Like he's going to be golfing with Allen Houston. Oh my God. And then he has this celebrity softball tournament. Or the Greg Newsom has this celebrity softball game. He shows up. I don't know. I didn't see him in any Knicks jersey or I Love New York T-shirts and Rob, you can shake your head all you want, but you guys are the ones that want to blow this crap up. That like, oh man, he wants out of here. You got to move him. Why? Where are you guys getting that from? Explain it to me. Interns are in here. Let's go. You're shaking your head, Rob. Get to the microphone, or somehow, some way. I'll translate what you're saying on here. What am I missing here? Which is when? 2 years?
I think, Chico, the thought is that right now, the fact that there even is talk of the Cavs doing something outlandish, because what you've been saying, I agree with you. Look at what the Nuggets just did. It took the Nuggets 7 damn years with that same core, more or less, give or take, to finally win a championship, and they didn't blow it up. However, I don't think the Cavs could get to that point right now because you're walking around with a giant question mark. The elephant in the room is, will your superstar Donovan Mitchell commit to you? And if he doesn't, or even if you have a guess that he might not, the way that the NBA works is you got to take your star and you got to shell him out to get back what you can.
Okay, but let's think about this again. And I'm trying to be logical about this. So if that messes with anybody, Rob, you can glare at me all you want, but you know I'm right. Like, you guys want to So first of all, you've already got Donovan Mitchell wanting out of town, which I think is ludicrous. I don't know where that comes from. He's never said as much. He's never even hinted that he doesn't like Cleveland. Matter of fact, he's gone the opposite with that. Again, the New York stuff, he's got friends there. He knows people there. Like, so what? He's already
Chico, but it seems to me like in that report or whatever it was, I don't even know what, I don't even really want to call it a report.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that. It was really a sentence that came out of Brian Windhorst's mouth that people are taking and running with. I don't know that it has to be about Donovan Mitchell per se. I mean, you're kind of making it into that it's about him, but I don't think that it is.
But you said you put it out there with Donovan Mitchell, and that's why I'm bringing this up, because you guys, I've heard yesterday Donovan Mitchell.
I don't think I tweeted Donovan Mitchell's name yesterday, did
Donovan Mitchell round 2. So, okay, then what are you saying then? Because guys like Windhorst or anybody in the media, anybody anywhere knows that Cleveland fans and media will absolutely bite and take this stuff hook, line, sinker, which I think is why they do it. Like, well, let's have some fun with Cleveland fans. You know, their media, some in their media is going to eat this up as something huge, and it's not. Like, you're throwing out stories about LeBron. You're throwing out stories about Donovan Mitchell, and it's like, what? I mean,
dude, I did not tweet Donovan Mitchell's name once. I'm gonna get confirmation on this on my own Twitter because I do tweet a ton, but I don't think I tweeted his name yesterday. At least, maybe the day before.
Okay, but when you after you said the first round of Donovan Mitchell, oh my gosh, when he was seen playing golf with Allen Houston, everybody, Rob included, they were in an uproar, and you got to move him now, get him on the first flight out, get what you can, run for the hills, he's out. And so you started it then. So you've already declared yourself. You can try to walk it back all you want. You've already declared yourself like, oh man, this isn't going to work. Like, how do we know this isn't going to work with Donovan Mitchell?
I'm not saying that. It very well could work. But what I need, and maybe Rob is saying something different than me. I think he is, because I think that it could work with Donovan Mitchell. But where I think Rob and I are the same is they got to figure that out now. This summer, they have to figure out, do you want to be here? Yes or no? Check a box. It's that easy.
Okay.
If the answer is no, or even if the answer is maybe, say la vie. See you later.
No, that's not what you do. And that's why you have an adult in the room and Kobe Altman, and that's how you don't conduct business that way. Like, if an athlete, you mean he actually wants to keep his options open? I'm shocked. I mean, there's still 2 more years. We act like free agency, it's right there. Like, he's still under control for 2 more years, essentially. And, put it this way. If next season plays out and we get, midway through the season and the team's just not gelling and Mitchell, starts making comments, then I get it. But, like, I don't. And Rob, I do want to put him in front of a microphone somehow if we can. Yeah, it's right. Let's go.
Rob, go up to one.
Can we get that shot?
Yeah, we have it set up. Yep.
Okay. Now, Rob, Rob's a hoops guy. Plays at BW, and enjoy talking hoops with him when he's actually sane. And so, intern Rob, who does a great job for us.
And Rob, speak right into that mic like this. Pull it up real nice and close to you.
There you go.
Check.
I like that. Check. All right. So this is what I want to ask you. You were one of the guys that said you can't. You're not going to win it. They're not going to go anywhere with Donovan Mitchell here. So you might as. And that was, now if I'm wrong, then correct me. But that was what you said a few weeks ago.
I did say something very similar to that. I think this core, these 4 players that they have right now, they will not win a championship ever with this team if they keep it how it is.
Okay, so, but I believe you did say with Donovan Mitchell, they're not really.
I don't think with Mitchell they're contenders either. There's a chance if they could. I see a route. Now, with the outlandish stuff they said this year, like with the
Outlandish.
Windhorse
There's that
yesterday.
word again.
I think maybe they could be talking about Miles Bridges, Paul George.
Agreed. I don't think it has anything really to do with Donovan. It might, but I don't think it has to be Donovan.
And like I also told you in that conversation, the Cavs severely lack wing players, and you need good wing players in the league.
I guess what I'm saying is like, but you guys, but okay, here's where it doesn't add up for me, because this was right after. And Nick was one of these that was all up in arms and got to get rid of him right after the Allen Houston thing. He was playing golf with the GM, and everybody's up in arms, and that's when you guys made those comments. If you didn't make those comments then, I would say, okay, I mean, that's a fair opinion. Maybe I don't agree with it, but it was like on the heels of Donovan Mitchell seen playing golf with Allen Houston, therefore he's all out. He doesn't care about the Cavs anymore, and I'm just like. I mean, yeah, we know they need wings. We know that they need tougher guys in the front court. I don't know if there's reports that they're dangling Jared Allen. I think one of the things that may have hurt him more than anything else is when he came out and admitted, like, wow, the lights were. It's one thing to do it. It's another thing to actually say it. Athletes don't usually say it. Even though we can commend him for being honest, athletes normally don't say that. So, am I wrong? You said that in reference to his basically being seen playing golf with Allen Houston.
I did say that in that reference. When I see that, I think we traded all these picks for this guy, and there's a chance that come 2026, especially if they don't
there's
make
a
moves,
chance. Yeah.
They don't make moves, and then we get back and he leaves, and we're stuck with – well, I wouldn't say we're stuck with, but we got to make changes to the team that would put us in the best position to win the championship. If they keep the same core, which is what you were saying in that conversation, which I was disagreeing with, you were saying we should just run it back with this core go back into the year.
With the core, yes, but like, do you have to add more players? Yeah. Do the guys you have also, does that experience help? Of course it does. I mean, they have to add to the roster, but I don't. So the core is what? Give me
you say the core four or the key three, Rob? Where do you fall?
A duo. Like, they could move Mitchell and Allen. I think the only two real untouchable players that should be on the Cleveland Cavaliers are Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. Those are the two you got to keep going forward. Those are the two with potential, you keep saying experience, that will actually get better. When we're looking at Mitchell and Allen, I think those two are already pretty much at their potential as players. And I've seen in this Knicks series that the Knicks being the team and what I saw in the playoffs, I saw a lot that makes me think that you could move on without those two and you rebuild something else.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Nick was like foaming at the mouth and salivating about everything Donovan Mitchell. Like that's what amazes me is you go from like, oh my God, Spider's the best. Oh my God, to, oh my God, we got to move him. Like, I mean, it doesn't.
Dude, I'm only saying that they have to move him because then that's like the biggest hypothetical ever. If he won't commit, if he would commit right now, like if he walked in this studio off his private jet,
why does he have to commit?
Because that allows you to, what Rob's saying, make other moves because you know your superstar, your nucleus, quote unquote, is in place. You obviously have DG under contract. That's one huge piece. We know it's a guard league. You need a good point guard to win. DG's in place for the next 5 years. Check him off the list. Evan Mobley still on that rookie contract. Now with the new collective bargaining agreement, you know you could get a max contract out of Evan Mobley. That's another good thing. Who's the real superstar, though? And is it going to be Donovan Mitchell? Because if it's not, you could flip Donovan Mitchell for other things to protect the guys that you already have that you know are going to be here, because otherwise you're going to get left at the altar.
So you give him one season with an extremely young team that we knew was inexperienced. Now, I'll be the first to say, did I see them getting their asses kicked the way they did in New York and against the Knicks? No, I didn't. Okay. But, you know, there is some kind of learning curve to this. Like, you don't, too many, I know I say this all the time, but it's true. The video game mentality. Like, it's just, it should happen right now, right this instant, right this year. That's not how it works. That's why guys talk about, Mark Price was talking about, you know, getting playoff experience and all. Playoff experience, there's no substitute for it. Now, did Kobe Altman also understand that we need to get tougher and, yeah, we need more shooters and we need more wings. Of course. And that's his job to go out and do. But I don't feel with 2 years remaining and one season of Donovan Mitchell that I'm ready to just say, let's blow it up.
Well, I want to throw it back in your direction then, Chico. What do we think Wendy's talking about here? Because it might not even be Donovan Mitchell. Like, I get that
it might not even be the Cavaliers.
I think it is. I think it's probably something to do with the Cavs. The fact that he said it, where he said it, how he said it. I think it would, but what's outlandish to you? Because, like, to me, okay, like, trading Donovan Mitchell is outlandish. Like, even though I would be for it if it were the right circumstance, it's outlandish. Like, I'll even admit that's an outlandish thing. Trading Darius Garland, that's an outlandish thing. Mobley, certainly. That stupid Tobias Harris rumor that we heard, that's outlandish to me.
Ridiculous.
What is outlandish? Why did he say that?
I don't know, but all I know is around social media, everybody was saying this is Donovan Mitchell round 2. And that's why I just, like, if there's no Donovan Mitchell round 2, if there's no Donovan Mitchell round 1.
Well, I think people meant round 2 by saying, like, Wendy did the Donovan Mitchell thing last year when he did the point, you know, the why would he say that whole thing? I think that's what people are in reference to. Like, he's called, like, this is Wendy right here calling his shot. This is Mitchell part 2 when he called that. What's next? What's Wendy know? I think is what people are saying.
So you're saying Donovan Mitchell round 2, right? So
it's just Wendy being
so
himself, being a wizard.
Okay, but I mean, do you think it's Donovan? You just said you don't think it's Donovan Mitchell related.
I don't think
now
so.
You think it might be Donovan Mitchell related.
It could be. It could be a number of things. It could be LeBron. It could be Paul George. It could be Damian Lillard.
Does LeBron make any sense in this situation?
It does for
Yes.
me. Would you right now? And I know that this could be a little bit of a hot take. It is. So I'll preface you with
not
that.
from you. No.
I would trade Donovan Mitchell for LeBron James right now, straight up.
Okay. What about, I mean, is LeBron interested in coming here?
That's the question.
Would LeBron, because all we've heard about LeBron for the most part, and I'm a huge LeBron fan, but he doesn't like to, especially at this point in his career, he's not about bringing young guys along. Like, he's been there, done that. He's not about doing that. So, I mean, unless this roster is going to completely change. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't that long ago that we were saying, and these younger guys in particular, Darius Garland was saying it, you know, as much as we love and respect LeBron James, like, we want to do this. We've got talent here. We can do something with this. They were given one shot. Now people are writing them off, and they're saying, move Donovan Mitchell for LeBron James, who might not even want to play with it.
Because I think it's cute and fun to say that we want to do it by ourselves. We want to do it our way. But then you realize how hard that is. You realize that when you get schooled and pantsed by Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein, that, yeah, maybe I need a little help. Maybe LeBron was that missing piece. And maybe he does want to be here, Chico, because he said after this, his next mission post Lakers, post whatever, as he's trying to figure out right now, retirement, not retirement, is playing with his kid. And I think it's interesting. We want to talk about the Mitchell trade, Mitchell part 2, whatever, that the first round pick that the Cavs kept in this whole dealing was the one that they could potentially draft Bronny with in 2024.
Do we know if Bronny, see, what I think is interesting too is, like, is there a chance that maybe nobody's heard from Bronny in all of this? Maybe Bronny, as cool as his dad is, and as cool as it would be to play with your dad, maybe he's like, I'd kind of like to, you know, make it on my own. Like, I love my dad. I can play against him. You know, he can still remain in the league, but it's going to kind of feel like, you know, I'm in his shadow beyond already being in his shadow.
I think the thing with Bronny, ESPN just put out their mock draft yesterday.
Atlanta, they had
Atlanta
17.
at 17. And I think if you're a guy that's around the 17th pick or even a mid first round pick, you need that help. You need that guidance. So Bronny, if he is thinking that way, Chico, already, shame on him, because the greatest player of all time just happens to be your dad. And he has this
wait a minute. Shame on him for feeling like, hey, you know what? If he feels this way, you Yeah, I love my dad. My dad's the greatest player to ever walk the earth, and he's an awesome dad, but I want to do this on my own. Shame on him for that?
Well, he could do it on his own the whole rest of his career. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying at the start, I need this as a launching point.
At the start, it's kind of important, don't you think?
I don't think it's like it would be for a year. He'd play with his dad. That would be a historic thing, and he would get to.
So how much? Okay, so wait a minute. Under your guys, what you guys are saying, he comes in for a year. LeBron would come in for a year.
If he didn't like it after that year, then Bronny would be stuck on his team. LeBron would likely do a 1-year contract or a 2-year deal.
Of course,
with
a 1-year
option
deal.
like
yeah,
he
does.
do.
Yeah, right. So, and how much are you paying him for that?
I think
whatever it costs.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Or there could be a chance where he takes a little bit of it because he's got a lot of money.
Yeah, he does. He does have a lot of money. So, like, so you guys are okay with him coming in, just signing a 1-year deal and being like, well, I'm probably out of here.
Well, the thing is, so in this situation of what I said, a Spida for LeBron swap, you would get LeBron for the year that he's under contract right now with the Lakers with the promise of we'll do what it takes to draft Bronny. So that way you have him for now 2 years. And Chico, I think the 1,000-foot view of this, forget Bronny, forget LeBron, forget Donovan altogether. We saw what a Donovan Mitchell-led team could do in the playoffs by himself. I get young roster. By himself, he was a first-round exit. By himself, even in the West, he never made it to a Western Conference Finals. He never made it to an NBA Finals. But with LeBron, I saw 4 straight.
The Nuggets, it took 7 years, okay? It took them like you guys, this is my point about you guys and your age group. You guys honestly think that this is a video game, that you just turn it on, and if it doesn't work right away, blow it up, go get this guy, plug in the stats, it should work. Like, these things take time, okay? This isn't like you don't. One playoff season, one playoff series, and yes, it was disappointing. You guys are ready to blow it up.
I think it's very, very outlandish to keep comparing us to the Nuggets, which is essentially comparing Donovan Mitchell to Nikola Jokic.
No, it's the process. You said Donovan Mitchell and Nikola Jokic. It's a team.
You always saw Jokic winning these MVPs, and he's dragging these teams. No,
so
Jamal
now
Murray
Donovan Mitchell. Wait a minute. Last year, everybody was just, you included, were just all over the moon excited about Donovan Mitchell. He averages close to 29. Oh my! Now all of a sudden he has one postseason, and you're ready to ship him out the door.
Yeah, I mean 40-point games in December are a lot of fun, but I saw Bron drag me to 4 straight.
Which sounds like, again, it's hot takey. That's what you guys. I mean, that's what it is. It's hot. What's the hot take
proved
here?
To look more like a 1B or a 2 guy in the playoffs, and we need to find that one, or we need to adjust the roster so we got so many 2s that it doesn't matter. And
I think another thing too is it is hot takey, and I'll be the first to admit that. But I think the NBA is starting to fit, like the way that the league just operates is it favors hot takey stuff because the most bizarre things happen year in and year out. The fact that Paul George is still being floated to Cleveland today, and that trade almost
are you guys excited
happened
about? Does that excite you guys? I guess I'd like a guy that might be available for 25% of the games.
I don't know that Paul George excites me.
It doesn't really, and he's also another player like Mitchell, where it's a 2 kind of guy. But
also too, he's another thing, expiring deal. So how open is your window if you get Paul George? It's the same thing. Is he going to dip for another big market? Does he want to play with Butler next?
But regardless, in the NBA, you have to be proactive. So that's all I feel like me and Nick are saying is that I want to see that they're getting ahead or that they feel confident that he's going to stay and we're making those moves for supporting players.
Can we let this play out just a little bit?
Yeah, but Wendy said that there's something outlandish.
No. But I mean, even before this, I mean, like, again, going back to the Allen Houston and Donovan Mitchell are playing golf, get him out of here. We can't win with this. Get him. Like, can we at least just pump the brakes a little bit and just kind of see, like, I don't know. I've heard of teams getting better. I've heard of, you add, like, is Kobe, if Kobe Altman's going to do nothing until next season, then yeah, I'm kind of concerned. My guess is he's working the phones. He's trying to make deals. He's trying to better the roster. Are we going to just allow him to do that, or are we just automatically going to say that you got to make this, the Woj bomb type move just because it's going to rock the earth.
We're definitely going to look for Kobe to make his moves. And you could pump the brakes, like you said, 2 years. I feel like this deadline we're really going to see, like there may be a lot of rumors about Donovan, and we're really going to know what the team's looking like up to this deadline this year.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
That core four, I feel like it's got to change at some point between now and then. It has
I feel like it's as good as gone right now.
It
Like
needs
the fact that they were listening to Jared, I think the realistic thing, and like you said, let's all chill out on the Mitchell thing because I don't think that's what Wendy was talking about. Really, I think Jared Allen is probably the much more likely shoe to drop.
And if we were to, okay, yeah, and I think that's fair. If we were to go back to that Knicks series, and everybody's culpable, from JB to Donovan to Derry. I mean, everybody was. But the main takeaway from that series was they absolutely just got their asses beat. And I don't mean like on the scoreboard. I mean physically. I mean hustle. I mean loose balls, everything. And Jared Allen, I mean, not only did he play extremely timid, he flat out admitted that, like, that. I still can't believe that he said that. Like, I've never, and I don't want to come down too hard on him for saying it, because it's almost like we always say to athletes, like, hey, feel free to give us your feelings. But that's kind of like that territory that we almost don't want to hear athletes or see athletes go down. The one of, yeah, you know what, the lights were a little too bright. I don't want to hear that.
And for me, too, with him, he's a double whammy of just a player that doesn't fit on this team. One, I think it's an awful fit, him and Mobley playing together, both being the non-shooters that they are. But for him to be just a strictly inside big where you're looking for him to get rebounds and just dunk everything, he proved he couldn't do that when the game got more physical. So for that, I mean, unless you got immaculate court spacing, he's the only non-shooter on the court with a great ball handler who could facilitate. He's not a fit on the team.
Yeah, I can see, and I like Jared Allen a lot. I like the acquisition when it happened, but okay, now you're starting to see. I mean, the playoffs does kind of shine a light, and it should, on what you have and what you don't have. And this year, it was more about what they didn't have, and they didn't have physicality, and they didn't have toughness, and they sure as hell didn't have enough shooters, or at least the shooters that needed to step it up. And Donovan Mitchell's one of those, and Darius Garland at times. I mean, Jared Allen, I could see that not being a fit. I'm going to let this kind of run back just a little bit. Let's see how it goes. And then, oh, by the way, next hot take is DeAndre Hopkins still on the? I know you.
I checked because I knew that was coming next.
Yeah.
I did not tweet the words Donovan Mitchell or DeAndre Hopkins yesterday.
No, but you said, and you've said this before in regards to DeAndre Hopkins, that what if Amari Cooper goes down?
It's a valid question. I get Elijah Moore has all the hype right now because they gave up way too much for him, candidly. But I'm not feeling great about DPJ.
So you feel better,
Elijah Moore. You
feel better about giving DeAndre Hopkins $15+ million?
It ain't my money. It is not my money.
Why not do it?
What Jimmy Haslam decides to do with the billions on billions of dollars.
But I mean, you're worried about Amari Cooper going down, who hasn't really missed any time in his career, a little bit. But DeAndre Hopkins, whether it be steroid use, whether it be injuries, the guy doesn't play. So, like, how is he going to, like, oh, that's the answer, the guy that, oh, you mean he's not dependable either?
Well, Maui doesn't have the true, if Cleveland was the solution, and I get how this is going to play, where if he goes to New England or he goes to Tennessee and just secures a bag, he's going to do his load management in the NFL. But if he was here, he would have a little bit less attention on him in the secondary because you have someone like Amari Cooper. You have Elijah.
So you mentioned load management, and immediately I went to Jadeveon Clowney. Because, like, well, I don't want.
I don't think that would happen with DeAndre Hopkins in Cleveland because I think he wouldn't be as dinged up because you have another true number one next to him with Amari Cooper.
Okay.
And because he's played with Watson. That's when he was his best, and when he wasn't taking any games off was when he was playing with Deshaun.
So I get the whole, and it's kind of, I know it's cute to say, like, well, it's not my money. It's Jimmy Haslam's. But the only thing I would say to that is if you're looking at this, in your phrasing, Nick, 1,000 feet up and looking down and okay, you're going to have injuries. You're going to have injuries in training camp.
For sure.
Let's say somebody goes down on the defensive side of the ball, an offensive lineman. Like, you've got $15 million available after John Johnson and Clowney and those other contracts came off the books and what they had originally. I'm not burning a hole in my pocket right away just to land DeAndre Hopkins when, honestly, I really don't see there's no need for him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll give you that. I definitely wouldn't want to break the bank for him, and I think that's where they're at right now. I put out there the other day, I think it's malpractice that they haven't at least brought him in for a visit. He doesn't even know where Berea, Ohio is. I would at least like to have that conversation with them and know, hey, DeAndre.
But see, with those guys though, their agent deals. I highly
do that. He just hired his agent 2 weeks ago.
Well, okay, who's making his agent's the one that's being quoted in all of this? So DeAndre's that's why they hire these guys.
I think it would be cool to have him in. Really, I do. I think it would be nice to have him in to have that conversation. That was a big piece of what I liked about John Dorsey is he would bring guys in and look them, face to face, eye to eye, have that conversation.
I'm worried that you would watch him and Deshaun Watson bro hug and you would lose it. That you'd just be a puddle.
Training camp, like God forbid, God allowed that I was the one to tweet that video of him and him in the brown and orange dapping up Deshaun, taking a breath of that Chris Berea July air in and saying, the boys are back, ready to catch some touchdowns in Cleveland.
Let's see what
I hope I don't have to see DPJ another year of hype videos in training camp just for him to drop touchdowns.
That's what I'm saying.
DPJ. That's another guy that's leaving Cleveland.
Nobody's hyping
DPJ.
Nobody's hyping DPJ.
Oh, give it till today's June 28th. I bet you July 28th.
It does come every year. The DPJ looks great in camp. Hype comes
and also
every year.
We talk about guys that are going to be out
He's not even that old.
On his way out of here. He's going to be on his way out of here.
Okay, but that's why you drafted Cedric Tillman.
True.
That's
true.
You
have
Elijah Moore, who is extremely talented, and I don't think has scratched the surface on what he can do. So, if DPJ, I don't even think about DPJ as like if he does take a huge leap forward this year, great. But let's face it, you're not going to have Amari Cooper long term. And as far as like Donovan Peoples-Jones, people say, well, if he stays, what are you going to pay him? You might not even have to worry about that. That might take care of itself. He might take care of it. And I'm not saying I want him to play well, but you have Tillman, you have Elijah Moore. That could easily be the future of this team at that wide receiver position. And, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, it's fair. We got to see how it looks on the field this year. And I get that that's probably why they're not going to do the D-Hop thing. And I'm not mad about it because if Elijah Moore does become – in the OTAs, they had him like lining up out of the backfield like Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
If that truly comes to fruition and he has a breakout year, then yeah, it'll be good. And everyone will be glad that they didn't sign DeAndre Hopkins. But there could be also an alternate universe where it's complete 180. The guy is the same player that he was in New York. A little bit of a head case. Not happy when he gets the ball. Stefanski's offense looks bad. People are calling for Kevin to get fired week 5. And it's like, damn. Meanwhile, D-Hop is in catching bombs from Ryan Tannehill for some reason.
I think there's a world where he could sign for cheaper. I know everyone keeps saying he's got this number, but
I think the number is what it is too, because I'm going to want to be compensated a lot more if my options are Mac Jones or Ryan Tannehill. Whereas if I could pair up with my guy Deshaun, who's publicly lobbying for me, like Florio put that out yesterday too. The same thought that I've had, like Deshaun went and kind of put his neck on his line and said, I want to play with this guy.
No, he didn't. All he said is, this always kills me. Like, they see each other in the hallway. They're at the water cooler. Hey, Deshaun, how's it going? Hey, Andrew, I was just curious. Like, my boy D-Hop, we're definitely going to see. Like, how did he put his neck on the line? Because they're paying him $230 million. Of course, they're going to listen to what he has to say. And, of course, they're going to understand that that's his boy. That's his boy. You got to bring in his boy.
So this is how it went, though. This is completely different. Like, the fact that, like, when the media asked him the question, let's say it was Mary Kay. Hey, Deshaun, the reports that are out there, obviously your buddy, DeAndre Hopkins was released.
I
He's a
remember
free
this.
agent.
Yep.
Would you have any interest in him playing in Cleveland? Deshaun has taken the high road on this stuff before and saying, you know what? That's above my pay grade. I trust Andrew. I trust Kevin. Those guys are tremendously good at their jobs. If it were to fall that way, I would be happy to welcome D-Hop back, but I trust Andrew Berry. He didn't go that route. He said, yes, I think DeAndre Hopkins is exactly what this team needs. I think DeAndre...
When you said he's taken the high road... When has he ever taken the high road with the? He hasn't even been asked questions like that until DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, he has with other players.
Who?
I mean,
Who?
He has before just completely ignored questions and said, "I'll trust Andrew and I'll trust Kevin." I might not have the specific names.
Yeah,
but
this is his guy. Yeah. He loves him. That's we don't. I don't not believe that in any stretch. Like, that's his guy. He loves him. He wants to bring him in, and they can make music together like they did 3 years ago, just not for $15 million a year.
What would the number be for you to be okay with the move to bring him in?
About $6 million.
How do you know that this number is at $15 million with these other teams? Have there been reports?
I think he did say that he wants like close to OBJ money, right?
Well, I don't think it's
but
any.
Our team's offering him that. Do we really know? Because for the same
That's
reservations we have with Hopkins, every other team would have that if you bring him in for $15 million and then he doesn't play. Like, there's a chance where the market isn't as high and he's going to end up having to settle. Then you would want to just go to the best team where you'd be the most comfortable.
And like negotiation 101, like somebody like if I'm Andrew Berry today, we're having this conversation. I'm sitting him down, like you said, Chico, $6 million, cool if that's what it takes. DeAndre, I get that you want 15. You went to Nashville. How'd that go? You went to Foxborough. How'd that go? Did those guys jump out of their seat to cut you a $15 million check?
All I'm going to say is I think the money is, and his agent's telling him, look, you don't have to do anything right now. I know he said he wants to get, any athlete would say, I want to get this done as soon as possible. They don't want it dragging on and on. But his agent's also saying there's no real hurry. All right. I mean, training camp's still a ways away. You could, you've been around. You could pick up an offense. So let's just hang tight. Don't worry about it. Whereas I think the Browns right now, especially when you consider everything that's going on the last couple of years and last year, like they're in team building now. And I don't. If they wanted him, they would have said, here's $15 million. Let's go, bring him in. I
do agree, and because we know too, Andrew Berry's not the type to chase guys. Like we hear that all the time. He's much more of the approach of the ilk, if you will, that like he'll have a call with the player, the agent,
chased
whatever.
one guy.
Who?
Twice.
Oh, Clowney. Maybe he learned his lesson, but we have heard though, all jokes aside, that he
Rob rolled his eyes. Why'd you roll your eyes?
I did not. I was just thinking because I don't really like Clowney either, but I'm very hopeful for Zadarius
I thought he was
Smith.
going to kill me on that.
No,
I like that.
I'm not in on Clowney at all.
And I think though that like Berry kind of makes his price and then lets it be known, and that's kind of it. And then if the player says yes, cool. If not, okay, see ya.
Jumping Jack, you all right over there?
Yeah, I know. He's doing like the YMCA over here.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. All right,
Jack was hyping me up.
I'll tell you what. We will. Do we want to? Do you have fair or foul ready?
I can, yes.
I'll tell you what. Let's hold off on that. We'll wait till after Booney. This has been good, even though Rob wants to fight me over Donovan Mitchell.
I'm just very impassioned about my basketball, man.
Rob will walk down the hallway, and like when the first round of Donovan Mitchell, for those of you, give you a peek behind the curtain. When the first round of Donovan Mitchell, oh my God, he's playing golf with Allen Houston. What the hell are we going to do? The earth's falling. And I was making all my comments, and Rob would just walk by. Now, granted, I didn't even really know him. And he would just kind of like do this. He just kind of glared. He'd be like,
Rob's a basketball head, man. He doesn't play around.
We're gonna check out a few games at BW. We'll have critiques. We won't heckle. We'll cheer loudly. Matter of fact, I'm gonna bring one of those. We're gonna have to big play. We're gonna have to make one of those big head sticks.
Yes.
Oh, like a fat head?
Yes, of just
head.
the head.
Yeah, we'll have them in the crowd.
And Rob is a Nirvana super athlete now. I saw that on your IG.
I did just post my my Nirvana Super affiliation yesterday. Just started. Got some water sent to my house.
You are an official Nirvana Super. I'm not even official, am I?
Well, it's an official drink of your show, but you're not an athlete, Chico. That's what I'm saying. Now with
No,
NIL,
I'm definitely not an athlete.
They have their own Nirvana Super athletes with the NIL world that we
So
live in.
you're in that
Rob
group with like Patrick Willis.
I'm not as known as those guys, but
I mean, that's your boy. Now you could say it's your boy. You guys know where I get the boy thing, right? Pardon the interruption.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love when Kornheiser and Wolf, they just did it the other day. Kornheiser was asking him, about Connor McDavid, the hockey player. He's like, well, you know damn well you wanted your boy, Connor McDavid. That's your boy. So you are now your boys with Willis, with is Njoku part of this too? Is he one of those?
I don't think not officially, but he knows of Nirvana and HMB, and he's in the group, but not formally. But Kyle Lowry, Rob, that's your
Ryan
boy
Dawson.
now.
Kyle Lowry, yep.
Shout
Yeah.
out Kyle Lowry for sure.
That Kyle, I was telling Layla when she was here, I did a play-by-play for, it was called the Burger King Classic. They have it in Erie, PA, 4-team tournament every year. I don't know if they still do. This was years ago. But you get 4 of the best teams, 3 of the best teams, and then the host school. But Lowry came in one year. Chris Webber's team came in one year. Bobby Hurley came in one year. And I remember Lowry's team from Philadelphia. I think they won it all that season. But
Now this was high school or college?
no, this is his high school. This is
Wow.
before, because then he went on to obviously Villanova. But he's
Yeah.
from. I'm trying to think of the actual the high school name. He's got a very famous coach too. But yeah, he was incredible even then. You knew he was not just D1, but like big time D1. And
Looks
he
like
was.
Cardinal Daughtry High School.
There you go, Cardinal Daughtry High School. Anyway, strawberry basil lemonade. Do you have a favorite?
Orange peach.
Orange peach. Orange peach is right there. I give a slight nudge to strawberry basil lemonade, but we're talking about the HMB. This is like stuff in cancer patients, chemotherapy, stuff like that. Like, this is what Nirvana Super Water is all about, and the elements that are in there helping folks feel better. Also promoting lean muscle mass, metabolism for old folks like me who just walk outside and scream at the clouds. Our metabolism is just going. So this stuff helps us in our workouts because, as you know, Rob, I'm old and slow and I can't quite keep up with you young guns.
It just makes me feel even more energetic when I drink it. So, and if I drink it during a workout, I just feel like I'm back to full energy pretty much after I drink one. So
I love it. I honestly love it. My routine now is I drink one of these around dinner time, a little bit before bed, and then I work out like early in the morning with the show and everything, how it is. And I honestly, like, where I might usually feel really sluggish or I might really feel sore and something, not after this stuff. Incredible. So.
Rob, how about you? Do you gotta go like mid-workout? Like, what's your kind of routine? Because I know now, like, I think everybody pretty much that works here has been on it for about those 14 days that Layla suggested.
Bohm
to kinda
swears
give
by
it
it. I think in his
I know.
suitcase there were no clothes. It was just Nirvana Super
Dude,
Water.
and like, it's crazy because we talk so much about athletes, older people, but like all walks of life. Like, Bohm's a musician. Who would think that like you could feel, but having that heavy guitar on you for an entire set, like I'm sure there were mornings where Bohm woke up and felt like garbage. So I'm glad that he's on it, and I'm sure that TSA was probably like, hey man, what do we got going on in here, buddy?
It's just Nirvana Super Water. Go to feelsuper.com. Again, feelsuper.com. And the code you want to type in there is BigPlay20. That's BigPlay20. You get 20% off your next purchase. Again, feelsuper.com. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going around Major League Baseball. Gavin Williams looked absolutely outstanding. Who does Brett Boone think he kind of reminds him of? We'll ask him about that and much, much more when we come back. It is the Chico Bormann Show. More to come right here on the Big Play Sports Network. All righty, welcome back. Chico Bormann Show on this Wednesday afternoon after a spirited first hour, debating with the interns and debating with Nick, and it was a good
It was a
time.
spirited hour indeed. That hour flew by.
That was fun. That was good stuff. Rob held his own, which I knew he would, because like I said, he loves to glare at me as he walks by the studios every day.
I'll give him shouts too. Like Rob didn't know that he was going on air today.
Yeah.
Like he thought that he was just going to
Surprised
be in
him.
here shadowing. And Rob, you held your own. Good job, man.
Yep, good stuff. All right, so we're going to be talking baseball here in just a moment. Our good buddy Brett Boone, he is a four-time All-Star second baseman, Gold Glover as well. And one of the things that I didn't mention at the beginning of the show because we were kind of getting everything settled, Guardians won last night, and Gavin Williams looked awesome, and we'll talk to Booney about that in just a second. Terry Francona fell ill before the game. It sounds like it's just precautionary, but I think anyone who's an Indians fan, or even if you're not a Guardians fan, or if you just follow baseball, you know the last couple of seasons he's had plenty of health issues. So we just hope and pray that he's okay. It's just a stomach bug or whatever it might be, but we're certainly keeping a watch on that. DeMarlo Hale filled in yesterday. I haven't seen any news on tonight if he's going to be available.
I have not either. I imagine they're probably still trying to figure that out, like as we're live doing this show.
Right.
Don't you think?
Right. Well, I think, and if he's struggling health-wise, then we need to get him on the Brett Boone podcast. I think that is the cure for what ails anyone, and Brett Boone joins us right now on the Chico Bormann Show. No bombastic. We don't have Michael Bohm today, Booney. Are you going to be all right?
Where's Bohm?
Where's Bohm? You know what? We dragged this guy, this Nick Padone. Nick Padone
Nick,
character.
I don't know who you are, Nick. Hi, Nick. How you doing? I don't know if I could do the show without Bohm in there. He's just like my blankie.
He loves Bohm. He absolutely, and I'm not liking that. Like Casillas comes on and he's like, well, I guess I am liking it, but he's like, yeah, Bohm, you can come out and visit. Oh yeah, Chico, if you'd like, you can come out and visit too. Like, wait a minute.
Well, maybe my new favorite is Nick.
See, I'm always dependable, Brett. That's the thing, you know. I'm not. But is that what you like?
Very hot takey.
Do you
very
like,
hot takey?
Well, Brett,
that's all I care is dependable in this world, in this line of work. Dependable, number one.
See, I'm not of the rock star status of Michael Bohm, not yet. So you don't lose me for days, let alone weeks at a time to go to where is he? Jersey Shore.
He is Boone, right? You'd appreciate this, Booney. He is in Long Island with his band rocking out. So we'll.
Okay. He is a bit of a rock star, but I'll take dependable over rock star. So Bohm, don't be away too long.
Yeah, we'll
never know what might happen.
I'm going to send him the message out there. All right, Booney, let's get right to it with the Guardians. Obviously, we mentioned we hope Tito is going to be okay and possibly even back tonight. We'll see. But last night, the story was Gavin Williams. Now, when he made his debut last week, I asked you about him, and I think he gave up 4 or 5 runs. He wasn't particularly sharp, but you could see the stuff. Last night, however, what did he go? 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 6 Ks. He looked outstanding. Your initial takeaways of the Indians' young phenom.
Well, I did watch him in his first outing. I did catch a little bit of the game last night. He had a great game. And I think I mentioned to you, he reminds me of Andy Bennis.
Yep.
If you look at his setup, you look at his size, stature, his delivery, it's all Andy Bennis when Andy Bennis was a kid. And Alan Bennis, his brother, is, if that's another good measure. But it's always good to be able to think, I learned this in my brief scouting career. It's always good to have a comparison. And the great Grady Fuson told me, he said, Booney, if you can't compare him to anybody, that's not good because he probably ain't a big leaguer. So, as funny as that is, it actually makes sense. With all the big leaguers there's been, if you don't see a prospect or a young player, if you can't compare him to anything you've seen at the big league level, then there's probably he's not going to be at the big league level because he's no one's ever done it like this particular player. But I that's the first thing that came to mind when I saw him. Uh, Great stuff, obviously. Touches 100 with his fastball. You know what I noticed last night? He was throwing. And hitters don't like this. He's got a big differential. And that means if you can get your fastball in the high 90s, hitters were trained to be anywhere from 8 to 12 miles an hour off from the fastball to the breaking ball. That's in our wheelhouse. If a guy throws 93, 94, his breaking ball is probably 83, 84, if that makes sense. When you can get to your fastball being 98 and your breaking ball being in the low 80s, hitters aren't trained for that. So what I'm saying is, from a pitcher's perspective, that's a positive if you can have a differential that's much different than the league, if that makes sense. So I noticed that last night. The only thing is, I like to, it's kind of let's wait and see. He looked great. He was very poised last night. Obviously, he went 7, gave up no runs. But let's also take into account it is the Kansas City Royals, and his
They've been
first outing
awful.
was against the Oakland A's. So I've got to see a lot more. But early on, what I see, overall package, big guy, big physical guy. So far, so good. And my eyes tell me, yes, this looks like a big league pitcher that's going to be around a long time, but we got to wait and see.
Booney, you were talking about the comparisons, and one of the things I was thinking about too is sometimes if you can't think of a comparison, then a guy is simply a unicorn, as they like to say, which now will translate or transition into Shohei Ohtani. Last night,
boy.
2 home runs, 10 strikeouts. Like, let me ask you this. We don't know what the Angels are going to do. I mean, I'm sure out there, especially in California where you're at, I mean, they're asking it every day. But, will they try to keep him? Will they trade him? If he doesn't do both, is he still going to be because we've heard the numbers, $600 million player. If he's not doing both pitching and hitting the way that he is $600 million still going to happen for him, you think?
Well, I think he is. Why wouldn't he do both? He's at the highest level of. That's all right. That's the problem you have, Chico. As much as you know this as well as I, me and you and I from the beginning, we've been huge fans.
Yeah,
should have been the MVP a year ago. It's not even a question. We were in the minority because Aaron Judge and hitting the 62 home runs. Taking absolutely nothing away from Aaron Judge. What he did last year was unbelievable. But Shohei Ohtani, just by showing up and playing the way he plays, he's the automatic most valuable player until he stops playing that well. He's the automatic this year so far. This year he's even upped his game from a year ago. He's leading the league in homers,
RBIs,
slugging. The infamous and now so important OPS. Yes, all you OPS people out there. He's leading the world in OPS. He's leading in total bases. And it's ridiculous. He's got a 3 ERA. He's got 127 punch outs. We're at the midway mark. If he ups his game a little bit, he's going to approach 300 Ks on the mound. He's on pace for 50 plus homer. I'm not one to suck up to people. I feel almost like a little girl chasing my favorite band, but I can't say enough about this guy. He continues to just be better and better, and it's like I get sick of talking about it because I do feel a little weird. I'm a little too infatuated with how great of a player he is, but that's how impressed I am with. He just continues to do it. That being said, if I'm an owner, I'm scared to death.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yep.
It's like, it's too good to be true what he's doing. I mean, how do you keep this up? And I think he's been an unbelievable, great story for Major League Baseball. He's done and doing things that have never been done in the game. The Anaheim Angels, the LA Angels. We like to get the things correct here on Chico Bormann Show.
That's right. We're all about that.
He's been incredible for their franchise. But I sit there and I think, okay, it's going to be $600 million. It's not a matter. I don't know what the money is going to be, but it's going to be it's going to blow away the highest contract of all time. That's already done. You're going to have 10 suitors lining up to sign Shohei Ohtani, not only for what he gives you on the baseball field, but off the field from a from a global eyeballs. It's the marketing. That's a huge plus with getting him, but it's almost too good to be true. I don't know how he's keeping it up to
I don't
this
either.
level this long.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? If he was a good player, good hitter, and he was giving you some innings out of the bullpen, he'd be unbelievable. Nobody's ever done that before. But what he's doing, I mean, you're a frontline starter, and you're going to be hitting third or fourth at the All-Star game, and you might even start the All-Star game as a pitcher.
It's Little League. I mean, that's the only comparison I can make is when you pitch, you pitch and you play shortstop and you hit 2 home runs and struck out 10.
Right, and I'm embarrassed. I pride myself on being kind of cool and under the radar.
You're
when
very
it comes
cool.
to praise for other people. But like I said, I'm like a little girl. I can't love the guy anymore. Anybody that'll talk to me about Joey, I'll just wear him out. Like, oh, he's the greatest of all. But I've got to down my game a little bit.
Well, what's interesting about
I can't say enough.
What's interesting about the situation in LA, I mean, obviously Artie Moreno has all the money in the world and he's spent a lot of money. Do you really want to be the guy that, like, okay, we don't know for sure if Shohei Ohtani, if he says, I absolutely want out of here, then Moreno has no choice. But if he's like, hey, I'm open to staying, Artie Moreno almost has to pay him because you don't want to be responsible for, of all the big transactions you made, then this guy, a true unicorn, you don't want to be the guy responsible for trading him away, do you? I mean, he's that popular everywhere.
No.
And
I've heard from the people I talk to in baseball and around the Angels, that's number one. This whole year is based around signing Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
My buddy's in there. Phil is the skipper of the Angels,
Phil
doing
Devin,
a great job. The Angels are definitely an improved product from a year ago or recent history. They're 41-35. They're only a half game out of the wild card. Angels are for real. That division has gotten really, really good, that American League West, especially with Texas Rangers doing what they're doing this year. I think Houston in the end is going to be there because they always are, and they just pitch too much not to be. But the Angels, they're knocking down some doors this year. They're definitely an improved team. Obviously, Shohei's right there as one of the main reasons for that. But I've heard all along that the Angels this year is kind of dedicated to whatever we've got to do to sign Shohei Ohtani, and it's going to be up to him. It's not going to be the money because the money is going to be in several places for him.
Yep.
It's going to be where he wants to settle in and where he wants to spend the next 10 years of his big league career. So
you mentioned, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned Nevin. How does he? I mean, we know he's a great player, but does he give you any kind of what kind of person he is? He's just really laid back. Does he talk to him a lot? Like, what's the communication there?
I haven't talked to Phil much this year. I've talked to him probably a couple times since the season ended, but just I went up and saw him at the end of last year, and I went in the clubhouse and sat down and talked to him. I said, how? And he just kind of rolls his eyes at me like me and you talk. We're fanboys. I said, what's he like? He goes, Booney, he's awesome to have. He's easy to work with. And I said, is he any good? And he just rolled his eyes like, it's ridiculous. Watching him and Trout every day. That's what Phil said. He said, watching Trout and these guys play, it's unbelievable on a daily basis. Down at that dugout level, which that's where you really see the true greatness. We can watch it on TV, but when you're living with these guys day to day and seeing the things they're doing, the little things that maybe the TV camera doesn't catch, he said it's unbelievable. He said it's like I'm watching a movie.
Yeah, we're talking to former All-Star second baseman Brett Boone, host of the Brett Boone podcast. We'll get to that here in just a second. This is the Chico Bormann Show on the Big Play Sports Network. All right. Let's go to brother Uncle Arnie's New York Yankees here. Look, Aaron Judge, obviously you lose that bat. We know it's extremely impactful, and it's going to affect a lot of things, and it's really going to hurt your club. But Booney, it's almost like these other guys just can't hit without him in the lineup. Now, not that they were doing great beforehand, but I'm running down this list, and like Giancarlo Stanton is making $32 million this year, and he's batting 184 and slugging 377. DJ LeMahieu is batting 227. Josh Donaldson, hey, he hit a home run. He's now up to 132. Like, these guys, I mean, I know Judge is your star, and there's nothing wrong with that, but these other guys are making a lot of money, and they're not doing diddly squat to help this team win.
No, I mean, Judge is probably, from an offensive standpoint, Aaron Judge is probably the most important player for his team of anybody I can think of in Major League Baseball. Well, with the exception of Ohtani, obviously, because he's doing two sides of the ledger. But I don't see a more important, more impactful person and how that team goes. I don't see a more important player for their organization than Aaron Judge. That being said, you ran down the list. Rizzo's been a kind of a steadying force, you know. I remember a couple of years ago when they were signing Rizzo, had the great Cubs years. He's a really good player, but is he on the downside? Is he worth paying that much money for the production I think he's going to give you? I was wrong on that, and I think Rizzo's been he is kind of the glue in that clubhouse. Rizzo. Judge is the star, but Rizzo's kind of that big brother in the room that kind of
he's had a decent year. Got off to a good start.
He's had a decent year, but I think his value is more than just what he does on the field. I think he's really a big player in that clubhouse. He's like the big brother in the room. He's won the world championship with the Chicago Cubs. He's been there, done that. He's had a great career to this point, and I think he's got a lot of respect in that clubhouse. So I think he's kind of that big guy in the room. You know, Judge, Stanton, yeah, they're huge figures, but I think Rizzo's kind of that guy that keeps it all together. He's been on the field healthy. He's struggled a little bit lately, but for the most part, he's been over 280 all year and around 300. You're having guys like Bauer, Billy McKinney carry the load right now. Volpe's I think Volpe's going to be a great player, that the young shortstop, but he's struggling. And in high leverage situations, he's kind of an out. I know he's hit double digits homers to this point, but he's still hitting 190 something. Donaldson's having a really rough time. He's been hurt all year. Bader's been hurt. Stanton was out for 7 weeks. Now he's back and struggling as bad as Stanton can struggle. Loaizaga in the bullpen's been out. Rodon's been out all year. Severino missed the first 2 months. Herman's been struggling. Nestor Cortez has been out for 3 weeks. I laugh because I'll be as critical of my brother as anybody. I feel like I can take my brother hat off and be a critic of organizations, teams, managers, players. Aaron Boone has done an unbelievable job, and I laugh when I go online and he just gets ripped apart. People in the know, baseball people know what this roster is, how it's set up, what this roster's doing. But the average fan, they want his head on a platter every day, and I laugh. I'm thinking, are you being reasonable and looking at this roster and the injuries that these guys have? And it seems like year after year after year. So I'm not here defending Aaron to the T. But I'll tell you what, they're 43-36, and if the season ended right now, they're in the postseason. They're one of the wild card teams, and they are about as cold offensively as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like I said, Rodon, the big free agent they signed, hasn't thrown a pitch. Severino, supposedly their number 2 guy, 2 months into the season before you got him to throw his first pitch. Nestor Cortez had a huge year for him last year, was number 2 in the rotation. He's out about a month now. Loaizaga, their huge guy in the bullpen, and they're getting no production from anywhere other than Aaron Judge.
I mean, here's the thing, Booney. If I'm a Yankees fan, and I know you're right, it's always, and Aaron knows this, they always look to the manager. But when I look up and down this Yankees lineup and I factor in those salaries and I factor like the Josh Donaldson, remember they made that trade, I think it was with Minnesota,
Right, but that a lot of that was to move Sanchez, and you got to take something in return.
Right.
We forget Josh Donaldson. I think he's 37 years old. He's had a great career. Was an MVP one year.
Sure.
Um,
But I'm just saying, my problem would be more with Brian Cashman than it is Aaron Boone. I mean,
right, but here's the thing, and I talked to Aaron about this a month ago. I said you just got to hold serve until you get everybody back, everybody healthy, and get ready for the postseason. I think he's done more than hold serve through this last month, considering the struggles in the lineup, considering the injuries. They're fine, and like I said, right now, if the season ended, they're going to the postseason. And in 2023, the game today, all you need is a seat at the tournament. Phillies proved that a year ago. All you need is a seat. And that's the goal. It's not about 162 anymore. It's not about, man, we got to win 95 games to get to the postseason. You don't have to do that anymore. You just have to. There's 12 opportunities out there out of 30 teams. You just got to grab one of those and see what happens in the postseason. And anything, I think recent history has proven anything can happen once you get to the postseason. Just get there, and hopefully for Aaron and the Yankees, get there healthy. The main thing for me with that team, as much as Aaron Judge is going to be Aaron Judge, when he's hot, he's as good as anybody offensively in the game today. But the key to me to that team is the guy that you mentioned and is struggling right now, and that's Stanton. He's hitting 180, and we've seen this before. He can look as ugly as any big league player I've ever seen, any big league star. But when he gets hot, next thing you know, you look up, and in a week he hit 10 homers. They really need that week and 10 homers Stanton to kind of emerge here soon, because I think they go as he goes. I mean, it's nice having Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge and Rizzo can't do it all by themselves. Stanton is a huge cog in that wheel. If he gets hot, that's when they usually get going. And to this point, he hasn't gotten hot.
A few more minutes with Brett Boone. All right, let's go across town and the other New York team. I don't know about you. I find this comical, and it actually reminds me, speaking of the Yankees, of the Steinbrenner years. So rumor is today Stephen Cohen is going to hold a press conference.
Yes.
To just
tell it like it is.
To just basically say, I guess I'm not firing anybody. I know that we, paid all this money and our team's bad and they disappointed. But when your owner feels it necessary to hold a press conference, what does that say about the state of your team right now?
Well, I mean, the expectations in New York, especially with the money, highest payroll in baseball, the expectations, not only is it New York, but when you have the highest payroll, the expectations are through the roof. 2 years ago, they hired Buck Showalter. It was like, oh, we're bringing Buck back, the old school combined with the new school, and things just haven't gone well. And I don't put it on any particular player or Buck Showalter. It's just, this is baseball, and sometimes this happens. I don't know what goes on in the clubhouse, the chemistry, what kind of standing Buck's in. Buck's a great manager and a great baseball guy. He is an old school guy. He's not from the analytical school of thought. How much is going into that? Does that affect Buck? I don't know. Being forced to really adhere to these analytical kind of expectations we put on him. I think he's done a good job. And I know I know the guys like that, the guys like a Bruce Bochy's, the Joe Torre types, the Lou Piniella types. When they come back and manage, like Bruce coming back to manage in Houston, he's a wise enough guy. He's probably going to be a Hall of Fame manager with his championships in San Francisco. But he's also smart enough to know the game, it's not 1980 anymore. It's 2023. I know what I'm getting into. I know that the players are different, the atmosphere is different, and the analytics are different. And I think it'd be silly not to embrace as much technology as you can. I know as a player, I don't just poo-poo analytics. Oh, in my day, the game was best and we don't need analytics. That's a bunch of crap. I'd be stupid, Brett Boone, to not embrace that in that atmosphere. It's like, no, give me the analytics. Give me as much as you can. Give me as much intel as you can. I'll take my baseball knowledge and my baseball moxie and go out there and combine the analytics with my gut and try. I think that's the best formula. It's not, no, we just got to stick to the analytics and everything is whatever the computer spits out. That's what I'm going to do. That makes you naive and ignorant as well. But to dismiss them and just say, no, we're going to go do it how we used to do it all the time. I don't think that's the smartest thing. So there's a combo in here. I'll guarantee you that Buck's embracing that. He's a smart enough guy to do that. One of the smarter baseball men out there, but it just hasn't gone his way in New York. In New York, they're going to blow everything up times 10. You know, the Yankees right now, they're in the playoffs. They've won 100 games, 4 out of the last 5 years. They're in the playoffs every year. And I mean, they're acting right now like they're the Oakland A's. That's how the fans are behaving. Like, blow this place up. It's like, no, we're not even at the midway point. In the Mets situation, yeah, I think it's going to be a long year, and I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to regain or even have a chance to go to the postseason, especially in that division. But that's baseball, and it's the way it is. And there's always one or two teams every year that you have the huge expectations, and we're sitting there at midway, go, what happened? Well, the Mets right now are saying, what happened? I don't know what it's going to say today. Cohen's going to say today. Could be an interesting conversation.
Yes.
Whenever a guy like that steps up and said, I'm going to have a press conference for what?
The owner.
To not fire people. Okay. But, that's the way he is. He's kind of, he's that guy that came in guns a-blazing, and I'm going to spend more than anybody else, and we're going to make it a winner, damn it, here in New York. And thus far, it hasn't happened. But that's the game. That's why it's a great game. It's not predictable.
Absolutely. Few more minutes with Brent Boone. Booney, we mentioned comps earlier, and I know last week we focused on the Reds as a team, and in the middle of that hot streak, they got back in first place last night with a win, half game over Milwaukee. But I'm interested, who would be your comp for De La Cruz? I mean, is there, like, he's unbelievable to watch.
Wow.
Put you on the spot there. Maybe Eric Davis? Maybe? Or no?
No. I'm going to watch him a little more and give you a comp. He's a unicorn. He really is.
Okay, that's fair too.
He's got ridiculous power. You know who my comp is right now? And from the left side, it's not a right side. It's a Fernando Tatis Jr. in San Diego. And I'm talking about from a skill set and from a rock star persona set. He's that personality. He's that guy that's going to be the face of the media guide in Cincinnati for the next year, 10 years. I look at him as that. He's that man. He wears it on his chest. He's flamboyant. He's out there. He's emotional. He's kind of a Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners with the skill set, 8s across the board. He runs faster than everybody else. He's got a better arm than everybody else. He's got light tower power. He's exciting. He's smiling all the time. He's flamboyant. He's that rock star. He's that Tatis. And man, he's been there 19 games. I think they've won 15. They went on that big streak. They rattled off 12 in a row. They're atop the division. We haven't seen that in a long time in Cincinnati. They've been cellar dwellers, and all of a sudden they're in first place. Mind you, mediocre division, but nevertheless, somebody, we said early in the season, why not Pittsburgh? Now I'm saying, why not Cincinnati? Anybody could win that division. In the end, I think that division, and I hate to say it, I think it's going to be, who do you think it is, Chico?
I think
nobody's talking about him in that division.
I think you're going to say the Cubs, not the Cardinals.
Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee's right. Yeah.
Nobody's talked about Milwaukee, right, all year. All they've done is consistently go to the playoffs every single year.
They've had, if they can get, I mean, again, you've always talked about their rotation with Burns and Woodruff, and you know what I mean?
Woodruff's been on that IL.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. They get him back, now all of a sudden.
I think in the end, they're going to sneak in. But it really, right now, it's a great story. Cincinnati, Votto's back. The city's having a lot of fun. It is Cincinnati. They haven't had a winner in a lot of years now. So it's exciting to watch this kid. He could be something special. He's only 21 years old. And I went back into his minor league statistics. He had just over 1,000 at bats, right at 50 homers, 170 or 180 RBIs, like 80 bags. That's the thing that sets him apart. He steals bases. That's something that's kind of been a lost art in baseball.
When
It's
you
coming
saw
back
him
this
leg
year.
out that triple a couple weeks ago, it was like, I mean, he looked like a thoroughbred.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And the minor leagues numbers prove it out. It's not like he just came to the big leagues, had mediocre minor league numbers. No, he's hitting 300 and putting up damage and stealing bases. So I see what you're saying from an Eric Davis standpoint, the power matched with the stolen base prowess. But when I was thinking of the comp, it's somebody. Who does he remind me of? When we were talking about Andy Bennis as the comp, it's because he looked like him in stature.
I got you. Okay.
De La Cruz and Eric Davis don't look anything alike to me, but yet, yeah, I see what you're talking about from a standpoint of stealing bases and the power combo.
Last thing for you, a guy not flamboyant by any stretch of the imagination, but damn is he good. He's actually one of my favorite players in the game. Just recently got 2,000 hits. Freddie Freeman with the Dodgers. Ho-hum having another great year, batting over 300, driving in runs, scoring a ton of runs. You think he can make it to 3,000? Because it seems like nowadays that's, it doesn't seem possible for when you look at some of these active guys. You think he can do that?
First of all, I want to say Freddie Freeman. I was talking to somebody about him. I was just at a charity golf event, and we were talking baseball, and hitters came up, and the first guy that came to my mind is, wow, Freddie Freeman can hit.
Yep, love him.
That man is a hitter. When the pure hitters, 2023, it doesn't seem that there's as many pure hitters as there used to be. Everybody sets the bar with a Tony Gwynn type hitter, a Wade Boggs. It seems like today's with a rise down in Miami. That might be changing right now. But outside of him, who are the guys in Major League Baseball that are just hitters, that don't strike out, that just have great ABs, that have a power combo and an average combo? Freddie Freeman's at the top of that list. This dude can just flat out hit. You talk about 3,000 hits. He got his 2,000s here recently. It's never in your favor, Chico, to get 3,000 hits. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
I don't care how great you are. 3,000 hits is 3,000 hits. There's a reason there's only been a handful of people in the history of baseball that get it, because it's not about how great of a hitter you are. It's a combination with injury, with staying on the field, with longevity. So it's that very rare combo of playing long enough to do it and being a great enough hitter at the same time. He's definitely a great enough hitter. He's 33 years old. He got 1,000 to go. 5 years puts him at 38 years old, and that's 200 hits a year. So realistically, he's going to have to play till he's least 40.
Yeah.
So I would say the odds are overwhelmingly not in his favor. That being said,
first base not too demanding,
right,
maybe, right?
First base, that's in his favor.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty straight arrow guy, lives a very modest life, takes care of himself.
Yep.
33 years old, one of the best swings in the game, left-handed. That's always in his favor. It's all going to come down to health. If he's healthy enough, he has a chance to make it. First base, definitely a positive. Limited wear and tear in your body. He's not in the middle infield or a center fielder. That's definitely in his favor. But all in all, 1,000 more hits starting at age 33. If you're a betting man, you put your money against him getting the 3,000 hits. But from a hitter's standpoint and how good a hitter he is, of course he can make it. But I wouldn't bet on it. I'll never bet on anybody, and I don't care who it is, getting 3,000 hits. It's a lot of hits.
Yep. All right. Finally, Booney, what's coming up on the podcast?
What's coming up? We just did the College World Series. LSU just won the College World Series champion. So we have Jay Johnson. I'm gonna do a special coming out tomorrow. The skipper of the LSU Tigers talking me through that road to Omaha and how they won
Nice.
the big one. So we got him. Jack Carr came out today, the Navy SEAL, and one of my favorite shows he inspired from his books, which was the Terminal List, which is on Turning to with
You
Boone.
and I,
What is
we've
Boone
watched that.
watching?
We've watched
Terminal List.
weird ending. But yeah, you and I have
Weird-
both seen that.
Yeah, Jack Carr's the author of the book, and he was the executive producer on the Terminal List. He's out today, and we've got, with the draft coming up in Major League Baseball, the one and only Grady Fuson, who is the legendary scout for the Oakland A's, who was he had a character in Moneyball, and then Louis Tion on Friday.
Ooh,
That might
nice.
interest you, Chico.
I like
Blast from
that.
the past. Yeah, I love Louis Tion. So that'll be interesting. That's what's coming up on the Boone podcast.
Booney, you're the best. Appreciate the time as always, and we will talk to you again next week, pal. Thanks.
You got it. See you guys.
All right, that is, again, Brett Boone, former All-Star second baseman. We'll take a break. When we come back, a little fair or foul. It is the Chico Bormann Show. More to come right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Back live here on the Chico Bormann Show on the Big Play Sports Network. Our new time, again, don't forget, 11 until 1 now we go. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can still stream us the same way you always have on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. Also on YouTube, type in the Chico Bormann Show, hit subscribe, and we are ready to go. Good stuff with Brett Boone, as we always do each and every Wednesday. But now, time for a little fair or foul Hot Take Nick Padone edition here on the Chico Bormann Show. What's up, Nick?
Jeez, I might as well forgot to unmute all the mics coming out of break. What's going on, Chico? All right, let's go back to the Cavs, kind of start this fair or foul. Because since we've been on air, there's more of this craziness, outlandish stuff unfolding as Sam Amico was reporting that the Cavs could be listening to trade offers for Darius Garland. Chris Fedor from Cleveland.com has since shut that down. Brian Windhorst from ESPN
Fedor shot it down, you said?
has since shot that down as well. So Windy and Fedor both shot down the reports of trading Darius Garland. Fair or foul, the Cavs would listen to trade offers for DG.
I would say foul. I mean, I love Darius Garland. That might be the only thing that we agree on, Rob and I. No, he's a terrific player, terrific young player, great attitude. I mean, I honestly feel like the sky's the limit in terms of what he can do. Not only scoring the basketball, but passing the basketball. He's just a great young player. I agree with Rob when he said that if you're talking about untouchables, it would be Darius Garland and Evan Mobley without a doubt.
Yeah, same here. And I love Sam Amico. We've had him on the Reflog show a ton. Great basketball insight normally, but it seems like this one got shot down pretty quick.
This is, I mean, with that date approaching, when you're going to start hearing the contracts and the announcements and stuff. I think it's Friday is the free agent start of the free agent period. This is silly season. They say in football season it's silly season when you get around. Same thing here in the NBA. You're going to hear all sorts of crazy rumors.
Well, with that said, speaking of DG, because I think DG is doing the opposite of getting traded, I personally think he's been on the recruiting trail a little bit with the Cavs. He was spotted at a Drew League game with Miles Bridges. Obviously, that comes with a lot of controversy, comes with a lot of baggage. The guy had found himself in some trouble. Seems like he's rebounded from that, at least in the legal perspective. Fair or foul, Miles Bridges could be the Cavs starting 3 next year.
Okay, let me start by saying I love Miles Bridges, the player. As long as that other stuff doesn't, because I think another thing the Cavs have, and I think JB has worked tirelessly to get this, is a really good culture. And I'm not saying that Miles is a bad guy. Never met him, don't know him. But obviously, when you're talking about those kinds of charges, it's going to raise a few eyebrows. So if that's in check, the player, I absolutely love the player. So, yeah, I mean, if it can happen. Now, how much – I wonder how much backlash they would get from the fans, because I don't think many people really know all that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think nationally maybe it might just spark some – because kind of similar to the Deshaun thing, right? Like, it was one thing, the national moans and groans when the Browns got Deshaun Watson. But then when you saw the $230 million fully guaranteed with it, a lot of people felt like that was an additional slap in the face. So I feel like when the money came out, call it $15-20 million a year for a guy like Miles Bridges, then you might have some of the backlash pop out. But.
Yeah, I think that's one where you talk about in for a visit. That's one where Kobe Altman's sitting there and JB Bickerstaff is there and Miles, and you just make sure that, because if he's fine and he's not a guy that's going to disrupt anything, then absolutely bring him in.
And I find it interesting, too, that they sent DG, of all guys, notoriously just a good attitude, good character kid from a great family, basketball family. I find it interesting that he was the one, and maybe they are buddies, maybe they didn't talk any free agent stuff, but I found that it was interesting that it was DG with Bridges.
Yeah, I'm with you on. I love Darius Garland. Big fan.
Alrighty, let's take a little pivot and just go back and look at the big picture. Obviously, yesterday, and we talked about it in the first hour, the big news was that Brian Windhorst said that the Cavs could do something outlandish. Fair or foul, Chico? We don't know what this looks like. I don't know that Windy knows exactly what this looks like. That's probably why he didn't say it. Fair or foul, the Cavs will make an outlandish move by the end of day Friday.
They will? You saying they will make it?
They will. Fair or foul?
I'm going to say foul, but I mean, I think there could be a move coming, but, when we use, now we've used the word outlandish 4 or 5 times in this show. It is really it would have to be something that just knocked you on your ass when you heard it.
So, let's take a look at this clip because Wendy said that it's something outlandish, but it's also something that you've seen on social media in the last couple of days. So, could Miles Bridges be what he meant when he said outlandish? Could it be a Jared Allen trade? Could it be Paul George? Because they just talked about the. I think there's just so many things because he said that it's something that you've totally seen on social media, but it's also outlandish, and I think that's where this kind of all gets tied up.
Yeah, I guess. Would we categorize Jared Allen as outlandish? Because, I guess to some degree it would be a big move.
Big move, trading a former All-Star, arguably still an All-Star caliber center. I guess you could say that that's outlandish. My brain. I think it's just because I'm kind of an outlandish human being. When I hear outlandish, I'm thinking crazy. I'm thinking absolute, like, LeBron tore down his $37 million house and he has construction going on in Akron. That's what I think when I hear outlandish.
Oh, I love I love Amanda just saying, "Wow,
She reached out to me,
now."
by the way. Yeah,
she's good people, very good people.
Awesome. So we'll see what happens on the Cavs front. On the Browns front, they're getting ready to take that trip out to good old West Virginia.
Greenbrier.
Obviously, they're going to have a nice little chance to get some work in on the football field, but off of it. I was talking with Bernie Kosar a little bit, and he really likes that they're doing this, kind of getting away. Obviously, some of the media will be there, so we should have some cool stories and developments that happen from Greenbrier in West Virginia. Fair or foul, I feel like I know your answer on this one. Going to West Virginia will ultimately be a good thing for the Browns.
Very fair. Yeah. And, yeah, I think – and I was talking with Bohm about this the other day. I'm fine. And I know with fans, I understand the fans here because – and it's not their fault. They've been dragged through the mud with the Browns since 99. So you want to be relevant. You want to win. You want all that good stuff. But I think we need to brace ourselves for a couple of things. One, the Browns aren't getting much attention. That's not a bad thing. It can be a good thing, and I think this Greenbrier thing is them getting away even more and just focusing on what they need to focus on. The second thing is this isn't going to be a team that is loved by a lot of people outside of Cleveland. And it's just a lot, and a lot of it does have to do with Deshaun Watson. Fair or unfair, or however you feel about it, I'm just saying, like national media, if it comes to national media making picks or prognostications, a lot of them are saying, you know what, we thought they were going to do it this year and then that year, and they just haven't, so you know what, prove it. But then on top of that, as far as the fans, remember in like 2020, fans felt pretty good for the Browns. Like, I remember myself, seeing tweets all over social media, and people would call in that were of other fan bases and say, you know what, we're happy for you guys, believe it or not. You've been through hell, it's good. That sentiment I don't think is there anymore, and I think the whole Deshaun Watson thing has something to do with it. Like I said, fair or unfair, it's there. I don't think it's a bad thing. Big picture for the Browns, though. They fly under the radar. Good. They need to fly under the radar and just focus on what they need to focus on.
Hate to break up this fair or foul.
Uh-oh.
Brian Windhorst is back, and he has some more news. He says they will not be trading Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. And he says, I know what I was referring to, but I wasn't referring to what people are suggesting. Donovan Mitchell also takes to Twitter and says, I see we are bored this beautiful afternoon with 2 laughing emojis.
Thank you. See, and that's why when you said, well, why are you going to Donovan Mitchell, Chico? Because as soon as Wendy said that, that's where everybody went. And even if you didn't mind it going there, hint, hint. So I just, look, I'm glad he said that. And the other thing with Donovan Mitchell is, and I like the way he's reacted to this stuff. He's like, I don't know where this comes from. Trust me, the first time that he makes a comment that is considered to be, not team-oriented, or he doesn't like Cleveland, he's done nothing but say how much he loves to be here. He grew up being a LeBron fan. It's okay that he's from New York and he loves it there. It's okay. We don't need to blow up the organization because of it.
Dude, the breaking news just keeps rolling in. This time from ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Uh-oh.
A handful of NFL players, including Colts corner and kick returner Isaiah Rodgers, are expected to receive season-long suspensions this week for allegedly gambling on NFL games, sources tell ESPN. So Isaiah Rodgers is the first shoe to drop, but there will be more NFL players who will be suspended for the entire year for gambling.
Okay, now here's the thing.
This is a crazy show, man.
It is crazy. Always crazy, but extra crazy today. I think this is one. I wonder, can the NFL, and I know I'm always hard on Roger Goodell, so take that with a grain of salt, but do we believe that the NFL and Roger Goodell specifically really has gone out of his way to make sure every player knows what they can and can't do? And I'm not just saying like right or wrong, like, hey, you know that you can't bet here. I'm saying like little things like the facility. Right. Now, I get why it's a rule, but do we think that they've really enforced that to the point where every single man on the 53 is like, oh, no, I know I can't?
So I think exactly that, and it's unfortunate for guys like Isaiah Rodgers, where this news comes down today.
Yeah.
I saw that just 2 weeks ago, they put out a huge memo to every club, every player, laying out exactly what you can and cannot do. So it's something that's kind of happened recently.
So now they have.
This should have happened at the beginning of last year when all of this gambling stuff was starting to go downhill with Calvin Ridley.
It's kind of what they do with the NFL did with officiating as well. Like with officiating and, these are the new things that we're going to focus on, but we're not really going to go out of our way. First of all, our officials aren't full-time, which is a whole nother, a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar industry, and your officials are not full-time employees. But anyway, but I feel like that's always the attitude the NFL takes. Like, well, this is what we're going to focus on. Oh, maybe everybody wasn't too. Same thing here. And like I said, I am not saying that any one of these guys, they know right from wrong. But I think there's so many layers to this gambling thing, like you can't do. It's to the point where you can't have your phone in a certain area of the facility. Do they really, all 53, know that? I doubt they do.
And why did Schefter do it like this? Because now I'm sitting over here with crippling anxiety. A handful more players. A handful could be at least 5. Yeah. Is it 5? Could it be more? Like, what do you mean a handful?
And then, it's, you wonder, Calvin Ridley was kind of made the poster child for this, but now, like, are there bigger names coming out? Do they, I don't know. It's always something with the NFL.
We're gonna find out, and usually, and I hate to be this guy, I really do, but when there's big NFL news that's breaking, your local favorite Cleveland Browns always seem to find a way to get pulled in by the ankles. It hasn't happened so far.
We're under
with
the
this
radar.
gambling.
We're under the radar. We're staying under the radar.
God, I hope so.
Nobody even knows we exist.
God, I hope so.
Oh, because it's September. We've got Cincinnati at home. Oh, okay. I guess we get a better play.
I hope so, man. Please, just a few more months to take me there. Please.
I just, I can't. All right, I'll say this and we'll be done, and we're basically out of time. I know I've said it before. I'll say it again. The idea that Goodell sat there years ago, 2011, I think it was, and was like, we will never, ever get into bed with gambling, and we will never have a team in Vegas, and we will. I mean, look at baseball, too. Same thing. They said the same thing years ago. Oh, we can put a team in Vegas. It would mean X amount of money. Like, you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth all the time, and that's what the NFL does better than any other organization. Yes, they're popular. Yes, they're profitable. But this stuff has got to stop where, they put something out there, they half-ass it, and then, well, look at us. We're going to really hammer down on this. Well, you know what? You kind of lose that credibility if you didn't really go out of your way to inform these guys what they can and can't do. I wouldn't be surprised if reports come out that a lot of these guys had no clue to the extent of what they could and could not do.
Completely agreed.
So, like, they'd say, oh, I knew I couldn't bet on my own team or bet on the NFL.
Right, but betting an NBA parlay in the locker room, like,
right.
especially too, because a lot of these guys, like in season, think about it, because that was Detroit. So what's going on in Detroit? Nothing. So a lot of times in season, these guys, we've seen it in Cleveland. Browns players that love going to Cavs games. Who knows? They could have been just watching the game later at their house.
Good point.
Could have been going. Just trying. They're 23. My age kids, 24-year-old kids that are just, they don't know.
Yeah, I just, again, they know right from wrong, but I think the NFL has this, it's layers upon layers upon layers that you have to know, and I think they just totally take a half-ass approach to letting them know about it. But we'll definitely keep our eye on that. Schefter's saying that there's more names to...
A handful more, whatever that means.
Handful names. Wendy says, forget about Mitchell, forget about Garland. Could it be Jared Allen? I don't know. We shall see. That Friday is fast approaching. We are out of time for today. Thanks to Brett Boone for joining us, four-time All-Star. You can follow him on Twitter at TheBoone29 and also check out his podcast, The Brett Boone Podcast. So thanks to Nick Padone. Padone, it's always fun, even if we disagree on 70 or 80% of it. Rob, same with you. Really enjoyed it, my man. Jumpin' Jack Flash. He was kind of in the background today, but Jumpin' Jack Flash was here. Ryan was here. So appreciate all you guys being here as well. So we will be back tomorrow again, 11 a.m., or as Bohm likes to say, bright and early at 11 a.m. For Bohm, 11 a.m. is bright and early. We'll do it again tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1, right here on the Chico Bormann Show and the Big Play Sports Network.